What's up, guys? Today's lesson we will be comparing fractions. We're gonna go ahead and just jump right in. All right. So we have two fractions here. We have 1/3 1/3, and we have 2/3 2/3. Now, when we're comparing fractions, comparing numbers, or anything like that, we're going to be using our mathematical symbols: less than, greater than, or equal to. Okay. So back to the fractions. We have 1/3, and we're comparing that to 2/3. Now I've drawn out some visual representation of the fractions, and for 1/3, we have one piece out of the three that are shaded, and for 2/3, we have two pieces out of the three shaded. Now clearly we can see that 1/3 is less than 2/3, so we can go ahead and put in our less than symbol. All right, so let's go ahead and put that in. Okay, now this is made much easier when our denominators are the same, which in this case it's 3. All right, when that's the case, we can just go off the top numbers, which are our numerators. So we know 1 is less than 2. Okay, however, it's not always that easy. What if the denominators are different? Okay, it's much harder to visualize 3/5 or 4/8. So how do we do that? How do we compare these fractions that have different denominators? All right, guys. Well, to answer that question is we must create equivalent fractions. Okay. Now, how are we going to do this? We're going to do this by creating new fractions. New fractions that are equivalent to our original fractions. Okay. So how are we going to do this? We can't just put in any fraction. It has to have there's something specific about these new fractions that they must have, which is they must have the same denominator. All right. Now, how do we find this denominator? How do we come up with it? We do that again by going back to our original fractions, our original denominators, which are 5 and 8. Okay. We must find a number that both of these have in common. Okay, so how are we going to create equivalent fractions? We must find a common denominator. All right, so how do we find this common denominator? Well, what we're going to do is we'll start with 5 here. And what we're going to do is we need to list the multiplication tables of 5. So we're going to list that out for y'all. Okay, so we got 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, and we'll stop at 40. Okay. Next we'll do 8. So we have 8, 16, 32, and 40. Now we go through our list, we scan them, and we see if there's a common number. All right. And in this case, it's going to be 40. All right. So let's go ahead and we can put 40 in our denominator slot. Okay. So put 40 in there. Okay. And we'll go back to our original fraction, 3/5. All right. 5 times what is going to give us 40? 5 times 8. Okay? So we got 5 times 8, and that's going to give us 40. And remember, what we do to the bottom, we must also do to the top. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and multiply 3 times 8. 3 times 8, that's going to be 24. All right. Now let's go ahead and move on to 4/8. And we have 8 times what is going to give us 40? That's going to be 8 times 5. And again, what we do to the bottom, we must do to the top. Okay, so 4 times 5, and that's going to give us 20. All right. So our new fraction, 24 over 40, and we have 20 over 40. And both of these are equal to the original fraction. So 24 over 40 is the same as 3 over 5. Just like 4 over 8 is the same as 20 over 40. Okay? And we can clearly see that 24 is greater than 20. And we can do this now because our denominators are the same. So we can just strictly go off the top number, which is again our numerator. So 24 is greater than 20. So we can go ahead and finish our problem, which was 3/5, and we're comparing that to 4 over 8. And now we know 24 greater than 20, so we know that 3/5 is greater than 4/8. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in class tomorrow.